everyone. Thank you once again for tuning to the Iconis podcast, where we just like to fan cast all the characters and talk about them from yesteryear. This time, though, it's a special day. It is because first and foremost, we have a guest, Mr. Ryan Sim.
Hi.
Hey. Ryan, and we're going to get back to you in a second. We got to go through our round table just because, manners maketh the man. So first, we got to mention that, and before I forget, I know I told Rod to remember it, so while it's on top of the dome, 3 years. Today is our 3rd year anniversary of doing the show. So Ryan, you're on the beginning, first episode of year 3. We're kicking it off. Officially, it is, we're recording it. It's a little bit of a delay, but we're recording ahead of time. So let's just put it that way. So we come down that August 15th is, year 3 for our show. Wow.
And counting.
Nice.
We made it. And then, of course, there's a lot of people that support the show, so we got to say thanks to them. So first and foremost, we got to check out the comic books, because the comic books are what gives us the topics that we talk about today. So if you're going to support the books, thank you very much, Ryan. If you're going to support the books, we're going to start off first by checking out Wild Comics out in Kitchener. Go out there, tell the rest of the guys we said hi. So that is Wes, Ramon, Chris, and Sydney. Tell them you heard about them on the Iconis podcast. They will treat you right. And for our friends out in Montreal, if you take a trip to the South Shore over the Champlain Bridge, check out Check Swings just on Tash Row and tell Trevor, Dom, and Pierre we said hi from the Iconis podcast. Also, another supporter of the show is Miss Brandy Ford. You can check her out. The link down below at The Writer and the Wit. And she also has her own show on air. Literally, it's called Off Topic with Brandy Ford on 4680q.com. You can listen to her on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I know we're going to be on that show too at some point, so we're getting there. And also, the guys I roll with when I do comedy, when I'm not alone. So if you're going to want to see some fundraisers and whatever else and a good time, come and check out A Touch of Gray Matter with myself, Barry 3D, Dave Sokolowski, and Zulf Ali. We've got some dates coming up, and they'll be posted extremely, extremely soon. So thank you for all being patient. And anything you want to see that I'm doing, including this show, solo, and wherever I'm going to be, check out barry3d.com. Wow. Rod, real quick, where can we find... Oh, Jesus.
Well, yeah. So we're missing one more person, one more hidden member of the team.
That's right.
Say his name.
He would slap me off the back of the head.
That's not good. That'd be painful. That'd be
very painful, because he does this whole juggling thing right now that he's got going on, and he does it with knives. I'm not messing with him.
Seen that.
Yeah. So the hidden member, been on here once, and we definitely have to have him back again. We're working that out. The other man, the myth, the legend, the one that makes us look so pretty. So if you want to do anything and you need any kind of digital media done, like if you want to do a podcast like we're doing, then you can go to podbean.com. And of course, you need a logo, you need some graphics. You reach out to you. Tell them who it is, Rod.
Juggling up J Bird Digital Art.
J Bird Digital Arts, Mr. Jason Reese himself. Tell him you heard about him here on the Iconis podcast, and he'll give you a discount on any work that needs to be done. Real quick, Rod, where can we find you when you're not doing this show?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not doing the show. You can find me on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. You can find me on Twitch at DJ Rod C. You also find me on TikTok at DJ Rod C1. DJ Rod C1. Other than that, make sure you find me, hail me up, hit a follow, let me know, hey, I saw you on Iconis podcast, and I hail you up. All right? Listen, today is a good day. We have a special individual in the building. Grandmaster Ryan is in the building.
Yes. Hi.
Hot. See, ladies and gentlemen, he speaks. He's alive. This is not an IA. This is no computer-generated individual. We do have friends outside. We do.
Really,
even though we're not in the same room.
Right.
Giving away too much.
Shared the same stage.
Tap the break.
Yeah, that's right. Our esteemed guest tonight is Mr. Ryan Sim. Ryan is someone I met through the comedy scene, and oh my gosh, he is funny, he's witty, and I love his insight, his energy. and his work ethic. What me and Ryan talk, it's always a pleasure when Ryan's around. I see him, I start to smile. So, Ryan, where can people find you?
Well, with the restraining order, it's limited, but you can find me. You can find me on Facebook if you type Comedy Chowdown. It's where I do all my shows and my YouTube series Chowing Down. You can also find me at TikTok at Ryan Sim Comedy, and same on Twitter, or I guess it's called X now. If you just type in Ryan Sim and Chowing Down, you'll find many videos of me eating disgusting things. And if that still makes you want to come see me live, Comedy Chowdown on Facebook.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, they should see you now. So how many episodes how long have you been doing the Chow Down? I got to ask this before we jump into it. I know Chowing Down started off for you.
Yes. So during the pandemic, I was with my wife, and I realized I had never been to a Popeye's chicken. And I saw it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make like a goofy video called This is Ryan Chowing Down, and eat it and then rate it. And pretty much my video, I everything gets an 8 out of 10 unless it's my wife's cooking. That got a 4. And
danger, Will Robinson, danger,
yeah.
danger.
But I've started to make it different. But I did that, and people liked it. And then I'm on season 2. I'm on episode 55 of season 2. And I know it's a PG audience, so I'll state the fact, and we don't have to talk anything more about it. But each season has 69 episodes.
Nice. Okay. I love it.
We'll leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Leave it right there.
Oh,
so we were almost at the end of season 2. I've got a lot of I've got a whole bunch in the queue from when I was just in Serbia, Bosnia, Turkey, which is a really cool area of the world. And boy, did they think it looked weird seeing a loud English guy yell 8 out of 10 a lot while they eat their local food. But it was fun.
I love you, Ryan. And this is why we had to have Ryan on, because we talked about this before. When we have a guest on, we always ask the guest who they want to talk about. Ryan brought a character that I was like, oh my gosh, it was so obvious that it went right over my head. Not to say there's any traction at the top of my head. So today, whenever you listen to this podcast, we are talking about the Tick. It's amazing. Now, before you think it's like, Mary, what did you say? I didn't say, I said the Tick, not right, not thick, not THICC. Okay, no, that's when I'm on stage. I'm making those jokes. I'm talking about the Tick, TICK. There we go. This character, Ryan, what drew you to the Tick? Let's start with that real quick.
Well, now that I'm a comedian, I didn't know that I was drawn to this, but he was a superhero. But he was silly, and he was relatable, but also it was that kind of humor that everyone enjoyed. He was a lovable, silly character, and I think I saw myself in him. Aside from being 7'10" and buff, that part, I didn't quite get the height or the other thing, but there was just something so beautiful and unique about him. I was 10 years old when the TV show debuted, but believe it or not, I was a weird kid that knew about the comics before the TV show as a 7 or 8 year old.
Same here.
I have the original stuff, and beside me, because maybe they'll be worth something, so I keep them in plastic. And then I bought. You can buy them anywhere. They've got like the complete editions of them, and from New England Comics, but they started in 1986. And I used to go to the Hairy Tarantula downtown Toronto. I grew up in the country. We had a comic book store, but it was just like Archie and like whatever. So I would order Amazing Spider-Man and the Tick. And even as a kid in grade 4, I had Tick t-shirts and stuff. And I remember when the show came out on Fox Kids.
Yes.
And McDonald's and everywhere. I bought as much as I could because for some reason I thought one day I'll want to have them. So I have in my garage all these little Tick toys. I have the original SNES game.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a weirdo, and most of my friends didn't understand why I liked this guy that walked around and just said spoon. But it was silly, it was funny, and he still could kick ass. There was something cool about a guy that can make you laugh, but he could also protect you. And I think that's what I tried to grow up to be, only 2 feet shorter.
You and me both, we're both in that same dynamic, man. You can't go wrong with the Tick, and you nailed it on the head, right? So the Tick made his first appearance in New England Comics newsletter in 1986, and it ran as just as like a 2-page comic, and then it was like a logo. And originally they wanted to draw the costume brown, but they said no, blue would be better, so they did him in blue. No memory, but you're right. He's like 7 feet tall, it's huge guy, and it's a parody of superhero comic books. And right now, with a lot of the superhero movies that are out, I think maybe people are getting a little bit superhero fatigue. That's what's been going around right now. And I think the Tick would be refreshing.
You know what
people catch the humor.
I swear there's got to be an influence with who's widely popular that reminds me of the Tick. There's got to be an influence if you dig down, but Deadpool.
You're right.
Yes. If you think of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, how it's, and that was filmed in Canada, which is great. But when you watch that and you see the mix of humor and superhero-ness, there has got to be an influence of the Tick in that. And if there's not, it's a wild coincidence. And that's what I like about seeing that is that's sort of like, and a lot of people, when they saw Deadpool, I remember seeing that in theaters, and people loved seeing a superhero movie but also didn't take itself too seriously.
Yes.
And that's also why I liked some of those Spider-Mans with Sam Raimi.
Yep.
Like Spider-Man 2, when he's like, I'm not gonna be Spider-Man anymore, and he tries to be cool, and he's kind of a doofus. That was beautiful. So I think when superhero movies, because they're so out there, that if there's not a hint of humor, then it's called the DC universe, and it just doesn't work.
Nice. Shots fired. Pew.
Pew. Wow.
But the guy was right. Like I said, we say this. So the creator of the book of the Tick, his name is Ben Edlund. Ben Edlund, his name. And he started this character when he was pretty much 17, 18 years old, and started writing for his local comic book store, New England Comics. So that's the NEC. And that's how that whole thing came about. And his influence was, I just don't want to take it seriously. I want to have a parody of it. So it was like no backstory. He has amnesia. He doesn't want to know about his backstory. But then he runs into other characters. So, he run into characters like Man-Eater Cow and my favorite, Paul the Samurai.
Yeah.
Which was cool characters that he made. And the thing is, the first series ran like 9 issues kind of thing. It wasn't that many. The original black and white one they had
12.
Oh, 12.
I got it right.
My bad.
Yeah, 12. So, but that's still not a lot. Yeah.
No, it's not a lot, but it still has its cult following, and he's built that up. And of course, yes, Fox Kids made it really popular when they syndicated it for the cartoon. The beauty of it is Ben was still writing for the cartoon, so it stayed really true to the characters.
Yeah.
The only time it kind of got off rails is who owns what. So Ben owns the Tick. In the cartoon, they couldn't use Paul the Samurai or Man-Eater Cow or Chainsaw Vigilante, because they thought it would have been too much. So they gave him other supporting characters, and that's where we got Flater Mouse.
Oh yeah,
and Made
Batman
America.
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you see, and as the parent, that's the difference of it, because Saban Entertainment owns the rights for Deflator Mouse, which we saw on Fox Kids. When it went live action with Patrick Warburton, and even at live action, they couldn't use the name Deflator Mouse, so they had to make it Batmanuel.
That is
even though this character was never in the original comic book.
But then Batmanuel made it into the live action, so the comic, a lot of people that I know that are fans are fans from the cartoon, and I'm okay with that, because often the cartoons are never as good as the comic books, but in this case, I'll say it was pretty good.
And a key point is because it had the same writer. So hold on, Rod. I'm gonna test your memory here real quick. Do you know what else Ben is known for?
What else is Ben known for?
Yeah, the creator of the Tick. We got a visitor. I love it.
I'm gonna say, was he a writer for a movie?
Close, close. So he's a writer, and he started off with the Tick, and then he was a writer on because Joss Whedon liked him. He started working with Joss Whedon, and he was a writer for Firefly. He's a writer on Angel. You know, so his humor is always there, and Joss Whedon liked him. Like, they kept giving him work. So this is where
so he's a cult classic breeder.
Yeah, nice, very nice. Very nice.
Good tag. Good tag. Yes, he is. You know, I don't know if he worked on the movie Serenity, but he definitely did Firefly. And because of Firefly, and I think there was one other show, I can't remember what the other show is. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Another great. Honestly, these are great. These are great. Yeah. None of what you mentioned are crappy, and all have a following.
Absolutely. And big followings and really devoted followings. So for some reason, like, and I'm not saying in a bad way, he's kind of got his hooks in what people want to see. You know, I mean, look, you've got, was it 4 live shows, and the Tick had a cartoon, and then the Tick had a first live action, and then the Tick had another live action, and he's on to something.
And
I just don't know.
And all of these, I would argue, and I'm just learning about those now, is mixing the genres but not spoofing them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and they all had their own feel to it, right? I mean, Firefly is going to have a different feel than Supernatural. Then Supernatural has a different feel to Angel, you know, and to the Tick. They all had live action, and he wrote everything for the Tick, I think, except for one particular series. I think it was like the first one on Fox, where he actually had someone else named Will helping him out, and that was the only time that Ben had someone else come in and help him on the Tick. Beyond that, he's been there beginning to end and watching this baby grow to a full adult, so to speak, and still supporting it.
Right.
Wow. I love that.
See, the good thing too,
that's
like,
what it is.
I mean, like, you know, what we take, like, at least what I take back from the Tick is, you know, how sarcastic he is, you know, and if you think about it, each of those you got Dean in Supernatural sarcastic. In Angel, you have Matthews. What was Matthews' character? Eric Matthews. What was his character?
Oh, I didn't
the
really
other
watch
Angel.
Supernatural.
Not Supernatural. No,
Angel.
On Angel.
Oh shoot.
The other vampire. The other one. So there was Angel, and then the other one
Spike.
Spike. Right. Sarcastic. Right. You know, he's just seeing that. You know, at least maybe directly, indirectly, when Ben's writing, he's just making sure, like, I just gotta have this type of vibe or this type of nuance in between. This is part of my style. You can tell. Well, did Ben touch that? It's sarcastic, yeah. That's not a chance. There's a chance. And you just walk away.
It's almost like that dry British wit humor to a certain degree.
100%.
You know, that's what I liked about it. So I mean, when you look at it, he's got all these, and I would always hope that he would bring this character back no matter what, because I think it really has a lot more, as we like to say, meat on the bone for it to be revisited and explored even deeper. And even then, one of the other characters, like, I mean, you got the first original 4 issues of the Tick. The first 3 issues, it's all about the Tick. And the Tick in the comic book, he escapes from an insane asylum in the costume and says, I want to be a superhero. Like, what are you? I'm nigh invulnerable. Well, it's nigh invulnerable. Like, you got to picture Looney Tunes. He'll feel it, and he just shrugs it off. Like L.A. Swift, he'll just walk it off.
And he just goes to the city.
Yeah, the city.
Yes.
And
I love that.
I want to point out that this was created before Lyme disease was a problem. So ticks were still not that deadly, you know? It's nowadays, I don't know.
Nice.
Love it. But that's exactly it, man. That's the Tick right there. And he goes, like I said, to the city. And what was funny is when he gets in the city the first time, right? So he escapes from the mental hospital, gets to the city the first time. He's reading the book. Nice.
Yeah. Alec, that's called The Tick. Can you say The Tick?
Yeah,
okay.
Nice.
I shouldn't have said to tell a 3-year-old to say The Tick, because it sounds like another word. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. which makes me laugh. Inside, my inner child is loving this. So he's the first 3 issues, he escapes from the same asylum. He turns around, he ends up now, he meets up with their version of Superman. Now, he doesn't come off as Superman, he comes off, I think they call him the Caped Wonder. But he looks, and he has his first name is Clark. He works at a newspaper. He dresses as Clark Kent. But his last name is what? Oppenheimer.
That's so funny. That it's just Superman if he landed in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So his name is Clark Oppenheimer. With Clark, he wants to be on camera, man. With Clark Oppenheimer. See, you gotta love kids. This is why I love kids. They're just so innocent. What they want to do is like, I'm getting this. So Clark Oppenheimer, and his picture in the movie Oppenheimer is out right now. So I don't know how that would tie in if the writer had to do something like that now. But that was it. He was known as a Cape Wonder. His full name is Clark Oppenheimer, working for a newspaper. So the Tick thinks, oh, wait a minute. Ape Man can walk in with a suit and glasses and no one knows it's him. I'm going to walk into disguise. And he walks into the same newspaper to bring something back to the Caped Wonder. And all he does is put on a necktie. He still has on his costume with a necktie. He walks in and guess what? Nobody knows it's him.
Hilarious. It's there's so many tropes. There's so many superhero comic tropes are like pushed through this whole series. And that's the great thing about it, that you're just realizing certain things, like, nah, they can never get away with doing that. They got away with it. Okay, cool. Next page.
They did.
Next page.
Look, some of the ones I liked in the early issues. So you got, he walks in there and he's working at the newspaper to be a puzzle editor, and he's making up words that don't even exist. So he gets fired. Then he has to deal with a whole handful of ninjas, like a million zillion ninjas or something like that. And it parodies Elektra from Marvel Comics and the Hand from Marvel Comics, that whole ninja group.
Mm-hmm.
And the ninjas themselves, there's like 5 of them standing in one panel, and it's just they're holding a couple of branches, and one guy's holding a sign saying, "We're a bush." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's a bush." There's no trees, it's just holding 2 sticks. 5 of them, and one guy holding, "We're a bush."
Or what?
Oh yeah.
What about the evil nemesis Chairface?
Wow. Okay. So Chairface, really good. That whole parody of that story was parodying Dick Tracy with all the deformed heroes' heads and the names, right, and Chairface, and he wants to write his name Moon in the moon because it's what supervillains do. The Tick ticks off a lot of things for me. That's all I gotta say.
I'm so happy you guys love that. And there's a cult following, because when I would go to a comic book store, there was a few, like the Tick to me also feels like it influenced things like Savage Dragon. I don't know if you remember that one.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And because he was like this big guy, but he had a hint of humor. Yeah. But I would look through the t-shirts, and there would be Tick t-shirts, And the cool thing is there's still kind of is that the symbol of the Tick is just iconic. But I tried to look it up. I don't know if you know, Barry. Are they still making new Tick, or is it kind of sort of gone into limited series or something?
Right. So they came up with the other 2 seasons that came on Amazon. Okay. Right, just recently with the another actor playing him, and the actor did a really great job. And had Arthur in there and everybody. And they actually had the first time they actually brought in Dot, Arthur's sister, in a live action adaptation.
Peter
and then right now,
Fonowitz.
Yeah. And currently right now he's looking for a new home. That's what he said. That's what Ben was said on his Twitter feed just recently. It's like, okay, guys, season 2, that's the last season. We're looking for a new home to keep the Tick going. So he's shopping around to different studios. I don't know what the hesitation is or why it's not getting picked up as much as it should. So I think we all need to make noise to say, where's the Tick?
Right. So do you know, do you guys think they should, if they bring it back, keep the same actor, or what are your thoughts on who's played? Because a lot of people have played him.
Yeah. Good question. All right, we'll get right into that. So see, for me, the way this day and age is going is, do I want the same actor? No. I'll answer that question. No, I would go with a different actor, because I want an actor. I think what happens is the actors who've played him have been great. But let's be real, we need someone that's gonna make people go, whoa, and do the whole promo circuit to draw more attention into the character. Once you've got them hooked, you've got them. So I have another actor here in mind to play it, and I'm looking for myself. I'm going live action. I love it when it's live action. Cartoon was great, but live action is where I'm going to go.
So that's not a bad idea at all.
So maybe I'll tell you, I liked personally of the live actors, I liked Patrick Warburton better.
Yes.
You know, I did. He's probably getting a little bit older, and I'm honestly thinking, like, if I had to pick someone right now, I think wrestlers turned actors are a great option. So 2 options I'm thinking of is
Yeah.
Well, have you seen? Is it Homelander? It was John Cena.
Yes.
John Cena is amazing in Suicide Squad.
As Peacemaker.
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 And I'm getting Tick vibes from him too. And he's got chin. He's got the chin. He's got the body. And the other one that I think could pull it off, and I think is a shockingly good actor, Dave Bautista.
Okay, Ryan, let me tell you something. I love you, Ryan, but I hate you. Because those were the same 2 I had in mind pick right now if they had to play the Tick, right? And I went first Dave Bautista, and then I went John Cena. And then I had to say, okay, both of them have great comedic timing, right? I think John, now, and here's the difference of it, is John is at a point in his career. So that's who I was thinking of when I had to do it. If I want to do it live action, I'm going to go John Cena. I go, John's in the point in his career where he picks roles that are fun. If you look at the movie he did, the adult movie, trying to keep his kids not having sex, Cock Blockers.
Yeah.
Right. Very funny. John's going to go all in on that. Dave Bautista has comedic timing. You've seen it when he does play Drax. He plays that kind of character. He wants to get more into serious roles and be taken as a serious actor. And I'm not taking anything away from either one of them, but I think John is more at a point where I just want to have fun. And Dave Bautista is trying to prove that he's a true thespian of the art, and you're taking that same work ethic from wrestling and putting it into his acting. So he's not going to be seen in the same box as Dwayne Johnson.
So I'm so happy we're on the same page. Physically, I think Dave looks more like what I would be the Tick. But I watched Knock. Was it Knock at the Cabin?
Yes, Knock at the Cabin.
With M. Night Shyamalan, and he was so good. And I honestly, I will say right now, and Dave Bautista has mentioned he doesn't want to be the next Rock, just doing like Jumanji and stuff. He is, and he's in Dune. He is a really. He was also in that murder mystery one. Is it Glass?
Right.
Glass Onion.
Glass Onion.
Yeah,
he was good in that too.
Yeah, he was good in that one too.
And John Cena, if you watched what was that? He played the girlfriend of Amy Schumer in one of her movies. He was so good as a comedic actor. I watched Peacemaker. I think there's 2 seasons now, and it's he's a really good comedic actor. So I think you're right. I think the problem is Peacemaker might be a little too close to the Tick. People who aren't fans might think they might get a little confused because the characters are a little similar, because he is a funny guy, and he's wearing almost like the Tick helmet. Yeah.
Good point. So yeah, that's a tough call, but that's exactly where I was going with 2 wrestlers. So hold on, Rod. Let me get back to Rod. Who are you thinking if you had to cast someone in the Tick? Did you want it live action? Do you want it cartoon? How would you adapt it?
I would actually want it to be live action, because if you want the cartoon one, we got the first adaptation, and then like Ryan and you are saying, the second one, I kind of like, I'm so accustomed to having him there. Patrick, having Warburner, I'm so accustomed to having him there. But when I saw the third one, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. I realized maybe I can have a Tick that is not so thick and bulky. You know what I mean?
Right.
So muscular in that sense. So I wanted to say, okay, let me find who can be very sarcastic, who got comedic timing and sarcastic. And I just said, you know what? He's already been in a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to give him a little more bulk on it. I want to go with Paul Rudd. I want to try Paul Rudd. I want to try Paul Rudd because I think he might be able to get in between the Patrick that I'm accustomed to and the latest adaptation. What's his name right here? Sorry, Peter.
Oh,
yeah. I like to do things a little bit different, Ryan. So I'm looking for someone who's sarcastic. So I want someone who just basically he has an acting chops, he has a comedic timings and everything like that. But I want someone who's going to be who can just hit you with a line and you're just like thinking, oh, is he serious or not? Like are you really playing like you're smart or are you really just not all there type of scenario?
Can I throw out a wildly keeping this? So Rod, I like Paul Rudd, but you know who I like Paul Rudd for? Arthur. Because Arthur starts off, I don't know if you know, his sidekick is this nerdy accountant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he turns in. I could see Paul Rudd doing that. But Paul Rudd is great. He does have the chin. He also have the chin. If Bruce Campbell was younger and buffer, it would be him.
Absolutely. Hands down.
Bruce who? Sorry?
Bruce Campbell.
From Army
Bruce
of Darkness.
Campbell. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Army of Darkness, Bubba
Yeah. Oh no. Hands down.
Bruce Campbell, hands down. I think that's what we need. Like if we had a time machine or just make Bruce Campbell a little younger. Can you imagine the stuff that he'd be doing now? He was a couple of years younger.
100%.
Dangerous. Okay, forget. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so good points. So here's the thing. Would you want to see it? So I'll start with you, Ryan. Would you want to see him in a TV show or a movie if you're going live action?
Let's honestly follow. I badmouth DC, but I think Suicide Squad and their sequel did it right. They did a movie, and then the popular characters bled into a TV show, like with Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I would love to see that too. I would love to see a live action Tick movie. Put it on Amazon Prime. I don't care. It doesn't have to go to theaters. Do what you want, and then see how it goes. And if there's a following, and I in my heart there is, put it into a TV show. But we've tried 2 TV shows with the Tick. They get amazing ratings, but there's just something that doesn't stick about keeping it on the air.
Right.
Even the cartoon had an adult following,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
People love it. But it's just like, why can't? I think it's like a classic. This is a cult classic, but why can't we keep it? Like what? So there's got to be something I don't know about this style or something. But I think so. I even was just reading how they said with the success of Peacemaker, it just means the Tick live action was a couple years too soon, meaning people weren't ready for it. But now they are.
This is the part I was about to say, because ahead of the curve. At that time, that type of humor wasn't not known, or just like I don't know if we can go
not mainstream,
because it was not mainstream, because you know where the ticket is like, ooh, that could be, that statement could be used 3,000 different ways type of scenario, right? And you brought up a good thing earlier, Ryan, that nowadays Tick is basically the could have been the jump off point for Deadpool. Right now, if you brought it in right now, I believe it would definitely be more accepted. People are getting a little tired of the superhero type of characters, IPs. But if you bring the Tick, he's a superhero, but he's not your everyday superhero. He is something that basically, for an adult themed mindset, I think it would do actually wonderful.
Seth Rogen is Arthur.
Seth Rogen is Arthur. How cool would that be?
Yes,
Seth Rogen is Arthur.
I can see that.
Paul Rudd's too handsome. You're right. Arthur's kind of nerdy, right?
Yeah. But Seth Rogen, but Paul Rudd can definitely do with someone else in that universe. Make Paul. So Wow. Okay, my mind's just exploding with things. Okay, here's a couple of points. So one, I get what you guys are saying about maybe he was too ahead of its time, which is true because if you watch it now, you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, it's all in. And for
Right.
fans, we get it. But I think when all these superhero movies started kind of coming out and the studios were investing in them at the beginning, the whole point was let's get away from anything that's camp. So we don't want Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman, even though that is an amazing show. When they did the first Dark Knight, Michael Keaton, Batman 89, they wanted to get dark because they wanted to kind of break that trend. And then everyone kind of kept heroes serious. So we got so much of heroes being serious with sometimes drops of humor here and there that at one point when Ryan came out, I said, yeah, I'm playing Deadpool. Oh, wait a minute, you're doing what? Now, Deadpool has a following. He's popular. Ryan, everyone knows this kind of humor. When he did his first run of it in Wolverine Origins, fans were disappointed. And he realized that. And he came back saying, I'm coming back to play a traditional Deadpool character like you guys want. And then he did it so well. I think, like you said, the timing was right. We went from funny to serious. And now we're like, well, we can have fun with these characters again now. We don't have to be, every movie have to be serious. We need to laugh. We've held our breath long enough to say intense, 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 a little humor, intense, intense. Oh, now we can laugh. So if it came out now, this my whole point is like one big name actor, I would go big budget movie and really, as much as some of the characters were popular and bring some of those lesser ones in, like his side characters in. I mean, obviously you need Arthur, you need Dot, but I'm talking like Deflator Mouse or Batman or Maid Liberty or with her version in the other live action because I couldn't use the name, I can't remember right now. Instead of doing that, give me Paul the Samurai. Give me, Man Eater Cal.
Paul the Samurai is handsome. Paul Rudd, Paul the Samurai.
There we go. Give me Paul the Samurai. But
I don't want Paul Rudd out of this.
Characters.
I don't want him out of it. I want Rudd. We should just send this to Ben right now. Let him know.
Right? I'm going to tag him in it. So right now we're saying, so for sure, Seth Rogen as Arthur, Paul Rudd as Paul the Samurai, right? And then
Paul as Paul.
Paul is Paul. Simple as that.
Paul is Paul.
Right? And then we were kind of going back and forth of who would be our
version.
Of...
It's probably John Cena.
Right. Probably John Cena. That would end up being the Tick. And who was missing?
Dave Bautista. I think that guy can do comedic. Honestly, actually, that guy can do funny. That guy can do
he
funny.
Has. Yeah, he has. There's a movie where it's a kid movie where he's him with a kid. He's got to defend a kid. He's a spy almost kind of thing.
And think about this. John's done so much comedy that you almost expect it of him. But Dave Bautista is still so tough that if you saw him, he'd still be physically empowering, and then he will say funny things, and it'll still be fish out of water.
Yeah, and you know what? So you're saying Dave Bautista for you as the Tick. Okay, so I know I'm putting this all together, and then there's still, to me, two more people we need in this show, right?
You need a beautiful woman to play. What was the American Maid?
American Maid. That's right. So we need a woman to play American
Gal
Maid.
Gadot.
Oh my gosh. Bring back the whole crew. So here's what I was gonna say. So American Maid, and then we also need who is it? Chainsaw Vigilante. So Chainsaw Vigilante.
Ooh, Charlie Day.
Right, and then now we got to bring back the Caped Wonder. He makes small appearances here and there. So now there's two choices. Either, depending on how his relationship is with DC, you ask Henry Cavill to come in and play the Caped Wonder, or you get John Cena to play the Caped Wonder.
Done.
John Cena plays the Caped Wonder. He plays Clark Oppenheimer, and Dave Bautista plays the Tick. I think we've just capped this whole thing. We've gone beyond what we normally do.
This is nice. This is nice.
That right? So we just need, yeah. See, if we got a new, Made America? I don't know, Gal Gadot. I'd have to get someone. Gal Gadot, she could, right?
But maybe someone. So American Maid, she has dark hair. She's kind of like a parody of Captain America and Wonder Woman had a baby, right?
Right.
Who's
that one's a funker, as I like to say.
Yeah, man. Back in the day, you remember Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman? Oof.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, but no, the beauty of American Made is she does have that dark curly hair. So
Right.
I don't know. I know they can dye it, but
of course, I'll put on a wig. Actress,
yeah, and she had sass to her too. She was independent, even though she was a maid. Which is like, it's so funny. This strong, independent woman showing that she can do anything she wants, but yet she is still cleaning your place.
Charlize Theron.
There you go.
Ah. Ah. Yep. If I go when it comes to stuff like that, yep. Yep. She hasn't done one in a while, but her comedy, yep, she's hilarious. Wow. So we got what drew you to the books. We've kind of fan casted it, and we've gone through the whole kind of ensemble here with the Tick, which is amazing. This is awesome. So, and we got it down to live action. At this point, I don't even know what more we can do with. I think we've done it, gentlemen.
I think we might have.
We might have actually done it. This is amazing. Like Robbie World.
And it was such a fun thing. I remember the McDonald's toys and stuff. So if we could bring back a mobile game just to have fun with it, like one of those ones. Remember Stranger Things had a couple games when they came out. You know, some way to get people playing and having fun. Really to promote it, because there was something missing. And I think like I said, I remember looking it up. McDonald's, Taco Bell, everyone had these little toys. So you were always thinking about it as a kid's cartoon, but as a live action, you gotta have something, unique, and makes people really build on that cult following.
So you got to hook them in more. And it's surprising because, sometimes I've gone to Comic Cons, you'll see people dressed up as all the characters, and it's very rare I see someone dressed as the Tick. If you look online, you can find them. Right. And the costumes are out there. People are in the costumes, but it's you're right. It's got a devout following, and it's just got to get out there more. So I don't know. I know Joss Whedon's gotten he's people like him or don't like him, but if you're in with him, I don't see how Ben can't kind of parlay that into something bigger to get to the right people. I think that's what it's got to come down to at this point. He's got to stop thinking series right away and give me an all-out movie. I think it's and Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong or right or wrong. I'm sure there was a title like The Tick Fights like a million zillion ninjas. Is that one of the titles?
Yeah. What was it? I think I have it here.
In the amusement park, I think it was.
It was amazing. They had those one-offs too. I'll look it up. But yeah, I think it's The Tick versus an army of ninjas.
Right. And that's all it was, is him. And I remember Paul the Samurai, who has a samurai sword inside of a big bagel, like bread loaf. So it looks like he's beating people with a giant piece of bread, but then you see pieces are chipping off and he's eating it at the same time. You realize his samurai sword's in there, and he's like, why do you do that? It's like, that's how I hide it in plain sight. No one can see it. No one's going to question me if I'm walking around with a loaf of bread.
And you were right. It was The Tick, the Night of a Million Zillion Ninjas.
A million zillion ninjas.
Yeah.
That is the first issue I read of The Tick when I bought it.
That was Tick number 3. So you've been there since the start.
Yeah. I saw that. I'm like, back in the 80s, like ninjas. Everything had ninjas.
Canadian.
Yeah, well, that was the selling point. Like how you put Batman in every book to sell it, how you put Wolverine teams up with every Marvel character to sell it. You throw in ninjas, it was a made formula. If you had ninjas in your book, it got sales. So
that was the one thing is I wish that someone with bigger money could. I love that it stayed local, but maybe you don't have time for this, but is The Tick, would a crossover be cool? And who would be the ideal crossover for The Tick to really bring them to the mainstream? I was like, I want to think someone that's influenced by The Tick and the Deadpool. Would that be too similar? Like The Tick and Batman? Can you imagine how annoying he'd be? Like, I'm sure
that's the part where my
Robin
head is going.
annoying.
My head is thinking that.
So if you had to do it.
The Tick in the episode or the issue finds himself back in an insane asylum, but he's in Arkham, right?
Yeah.
And he escapes, and Batman is trying to get this guy that escaped the insane asylum, and he's like, wait a minute, he's a good guy. He was just in there because he's legit crazy.
So the couple of ways I'd see that happening is you would have to do the Tick crossover with Plastic Man from DC Comics. Plastic Man's humor is very out there at the same time too. And the two of them would get along and not get along at the same time, right? Because the Tick is so naive and innocent in his view of the world, and Plastic Man's a little bit more, darker mind, even though he's doesn't take himself seriously. That would definitely bring in, Batman or so forth. And I would say, look, you know what? Don't break it. I mean, it's already there. I think the crossover needs to be the Tick and Superman, because we know there's the multiverse of Superman all over. Even now, was it My Adventures with Superman? They now established that cartoon takes place on Earth 12,
and a
separate universe. But there's other Supermen that are there, and we all know Clark Oppenheimer is the Cape Wonder, looks exactly like Superman. He could be that version of Superman in their universe, and Superman usually crisscrosses universes at times. So he might see Superman and say, "Oh, it's the Cape Wonder," and you're like, "Why do you keep calling me the Cape Wonder? I'm Superman." I don't know. You must be a Superman, but they know you as the Cape Wonder. Don't worry, Clark Oppenheimer. Who's this Clark Oppenheimer? You mean Clark Kent? No, I know who you are.
Yeah,
and that crossover would be whacking as well. So that's a crossover for me. Yeah.
So he could be in the Justice League and get kicked out immediately.
Wow.
Gosh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, that's the crossover.
And, so that's the fun thing. And the one thing I as a fan, I think I wish I remembered, but does he have superpowers, or is he just really strong? I think he has superpowers.
So the Tick, he has nigh invulnerability, and he's super strong, and he can hold his breath for, as he puts it, a really long time. So he can go underwater and hold his breath for a really long time. He was underwater almost for a full issue, didn't have to breathe. There's times he's been outer space, he didn't have to put on a spacesuit or a space helmet. They're like, "How do you do it?" He was like, "I can hold my breath for how long? A really long time."
And his antenna, they kind of work.
Yeah, the antenna, that's his only weakness, really, because his antenna are sensitive. So if you grab him by that, he really feels it. Even though it's a costume, you got to figure out how it works. But the rest of him, he gets hit, he'll feel it, and kind of like he's like Wile E. Coyote.
I love that. See, so this is a great. Why do I love the Tick? Because he has everything about superheroes I love, and then as a comic, selfishly, he's a comedian himself, and he just doesn't know it. And I hate to say it, but it's like watching a Donald Trump speech. People hate it, people love it, but if you watch it, and you're like, "There's a lot
you'll
of
get something."
You'll get something. There's something funny here, and I'm sorry, I'm sitting on the sidelines going, whatever it is, it's entertaining, and I would just sit back.
Yeah. My dad says that. He says Donald Trump is his favorite comedian. That's why he likes watching him. And
he just doesn't know it. Yeah.
He doesn't know it. So the Tick is his own straight man. He has the power. Someone says he has the power of dramatization. So the more he dramatizes situation he's in, it's like the Incredible Hulk. He gets stronger. So the Hulk gets angrier. He dramatizes. He gets stronger. So those are his powers. And then, we keep saying, we said at the beginning of the episode, and I'll make this quick. Spoon. Why spoon with the Tick? For anyone that doesn't know, the Tick likes to give big speeches, and sometimes they make no sense, and he wants to get down to it. And he was eating a bowl of cereal at Arthur's place, and he's just eating with this spoon, and he's giving Arthur the speech to motivate him, say, "Hey, Arthur, you have to go on. You got to do this. We got to keep attacking the bad guys. We've got to be like the spoon of justice, just scooping out evil, Arthur, scooping out evil." And he looks at it, and he's like, "That's it, Arthur. That's our battle cry. Spoon!"
I love it. It's so silly.
It's silly, but it makes sense. When you hear him talk about it, you're like, scooping out justice. Spoon's his battle cry because, Avengers assemble, right? Those are battle cries. Every hero has a battle cry. The Fantastic Four, it's clobbering time, from the Thing.
Yep.
And the Tick is going, spoon, and everyone's like, what? Okay, we're just gonna fight them. All right, cool. But you got to say the battle cry is spoon. And he was walking around one point holding a spoon in the episode, just holding it up into the sun on top of a building, like spoon
of justice.
Spoon of justice. It makes sense though. Oh, Ryan, you went sideways on us, man.
Did I go sideways?
I was trying to show you Spoon.
You're trying to show me speed.
Oh.
Yeah, but I went sideways.
Awesome. But look, Ryan, we're coming to the end of the episode, man. And thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this topic to light for us, and being on the episode is so much fun. And do you have anything going on coming up in the next bit?
Well, you just did a feature spot at Nickelbrook Brewery, and we do shows there every month, and Barry was amazing. So if you want to check out those shows, they're every month at nickelbrookcomedy.eventbrite.com. So whenever this airs, go there, you'll see it. And also, if that's in Burlington, if you're in Hamilton, I have another amazing show at the Corktown Pub. Tickets for that are corktowncomedy.eventbrite.com. Whenever this airs, those links are always live with the newest show.
Perfect. So please, everyone, keep in mind, support local comedy. Brian is a hoot and a holler on stage. I mean, this is not even, you're catching, this is iceberg. I think you're catching like 10%, not even 10% of what Ryan brings to the stage. Trust me, those shows are a lot of fun. And him on stage, as no matter what spot he does, is fire. You're going to walk out of there with your sides hurting. So please make sure to take sips of water or your drink when he's setting up the joke, because when he hits you with the punchline, you're going to choke.
Thanks.
Rod, any last words before we wrap it up?
Listen, you know what? I appreciate everyone coming out and watching this episode. Ryan, thank you for being with us. And again, like Barry said, thank you for bringing the tick to light, bring it to the forefront so we can have a great discussion about it. Hope you guys got some good intel, heard some good stuff about how the spoon of justice is the future and how you too can dig out crime. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks, Barry. Spoon!
As I like to say, my friends, this whole world was started by a piece of paper, a pencil, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out.